Hello everyone, my name is Parnaso, and in today's video I'm going to review my live match at our latest regional against Elfnote. So don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and share the channel with your people so we can grow. Also, remember that I will still be updating the best Yami Masterclass with the information that I used to win the national championship and almost go to Worlds, making top 8 at the Continental Championship playing Jamie Fiensmith. Also, it already has over 4 hours of content that will eventually become 6, that eventually becomes 7, and even 8 hours, all just for $20. Tomorrow I will put 2 updates together, the in-depth review of my budget Yami deck from 2 videos ago, and a deeper explanation when it comes to the purpose of today's video. All of that constant information for just $20. So give it a shot if you want to know about Jamie Fiensmith or you want to know how to understand a deck in depth. So now let's begin. Here, you can see that obviously I lost the dice roll, right? Otherwise, why is an elf node Lucina there on the field, right? So here, well, I'm just thinking if how I want to interact against the elf node Lucina, right? And here I think I'm making already the big mistake, like in the sense that I have Ash Blossom, and I'm thinking if I want to go against this Lucina directly. I know that Moises is playing Elf Node Angeliki because I literally just saw him yesterday, like the day before this regional, like or locals. Like I just saw him playing this deck, so I was just thinking if I just want to straight up negate this Lucina with the Ash, and I think this is the first mistake. I decided not to, like, and here I was just thinking I am going to negate straight up the Elf Node Power Patron, right, to avoid the actual effect. The kinda unreplaceable effect, right? In case he has any kind of extender in his hand, like a Regina, like maybe he already have the Power Patreon. But at the end of the day, if he actually has any kind of extender before Lucina is adding something, this Ash Blossom is at the end of the day an egg one, because that actual extender that he may have will replace the searchability, whatever he may search with this Elf Node Power Patron, right? Because here, if I'm ashing the Elf Node Power Patron, but he has any extender that may allow him to play, he will still get to all the other Elf Node names, like the Tinia. Like he has the Tinia, he has access to the Regina, which become the Lucina, the Fortuna, blah blah blah. So if he has the Fortuna, he also gets new access again to the Power Patron. If he has the Regina, he can access to the Tinia, that then will become the Fortuna, blah blah blah. Like, you see my point here. So at the end of the day, I think I should use the Ash Blossom against the Lucina. I was thinking about trying to negate something that is kind of unreplaceable. But if I'm thinking about them having already an extender, my Ash is unable to avoid that, you know. So I think this is the first misplay, because now that the synchro is already there on the field, I am forced to use yet another card if I want my opponent to not have anything on the field, right? Like any kind of disruption. And here I am using 2 cards against 1. Like I am using the Ash Blossom and the Ghost Bell against just the Elf Node Lucina. I have 3 cards in hand, my opponent has 4. So I think this was a huge mistake on my part. Like, he's gonna pass, and now, like, we already make a big mistake here, right? So, you know, something that I like to say is everything that happens after you make a misplay in a tournament is just your fault, because without that misplay, you wouldn't be in the position that you are complaining right now. You will have been in a different position that may be better or worse, but you don't know. What you know for sure is that your current situation sucks. So if you wouldn't have made that mistake, maybe you would be better. So whatever happened after is on you. Now, regardless of that, there's going to be even worse mistakes here. So here I am just making sure that whenever he revives with the synchro, he can make the jump right. So I'm just making sure, right? Like counting the levels, blah blah blah. Hey, like making sure that regardless of what kind of logic he used for both of the effects, because both the synchro and the power patron can change levels in the development of their effects. So I'm just making sure that there's no way that he can get to 10. So there wasn't. So I'm just trying to play here, and then I start with the engage, just trying to push for my opponent to use their cards, right? Like just trying to see what they can do. And here like he's thinking, which makes me think, right? Maybe he's trying to use an Ash Blossom here, which will be awesome, right? But he's just deciding to let me play. And well, obviously I just go for the Hornet, right? And here I'm getting draw, which is kind of fine. The problem here won't be the draw, is me not answering properly to that draw, because now my opponent has 3 cards in hand, right? And obviously I know they don't have any Elf Node card whatsoever, because he didn't play after my Gospel, right? Not even the Rhapsodia, because he didn't set anything. So here I am just going with, because even though they draw me, the Kagari is still 2 monsters, right? So here I'm just recovering the Hornet, and here's where the mistake begins. The big mistake begins. I'm seeing my opponent thinking about my Kagari, right? So this just gives me 2 options. If he already has 3 cards in their hand, none of those cards are Elf Node cards. Therefore, they must be either the angelic. It can be also the Angelica cards, because he didn't use the trap card, right? I think he has the spell, but I think maybe because the synchro is here, he can use the spell. Oh no, I think it's because the spell don't have any trap card or spell to discard, because the Angelica field spell ask for that specific request, which I think is just disgusting, right? That's why it's a common card. So the thing here is that I must assume that all of the remaining cards in his hand are hand traps, because because I think I was pretty sure he was playing both Purulias and Fuas in their main deck. I was also kinda. It was fair to assume one of those 3 remaining was one of the Mulcharmies. So I technically had 2 more cards to deal with, especially that I still need to assume that they are hand traps, right? Even though they already use the Troll and Lockbear. And one of these ones may be Mulcharmy, like actually it was the Purulia. And and here I was just thinking just Gospel or Fidraulis could be the ones I'm getting worried, because of how he waited for my Kagari, right? So if he has most likely is the Fidraulis Harmonia, right? Because Gospel is not as a definitive decision in the Elf Node deck as part of your non-engine as the Fidraulis Harmonia is, right? So I'm just thinking, okay, if he has the Harmonia and I am under the draw already, how I can make this Harmonia to be less effective as I can. And here's when I made the big mistake, because like at this point this is awesome, right? I am making the read of him having most likely a Mulcharm in his hand and the Fidraulis Harmonia. 2 very good guesses, because like he had the Purulia and he had the Harmonia, right? So the big mistake here is that I am thinking the possible synchros that he can send with the Fidraulis Harmonia. And my big mistake here is that I just decided to disregard the water synchro, the Power Ranger one, the one that discards and put a monster as a trap card. So I just decided to not respect that possibility of him having that card. And because of that specific disregard, I'm going to make a big mistake here, and I'm going to go specific in depth about that in the MetaFi guide, in the Yami Masterclass. so I can take a lot of time, the time that I like to provide to this specific mistake, and you know what we can learn from it, and what should I have done about this big misplay that I made. So here I'm just going for, but let's just see what happens. Specifically because I disregard the water synchro. Like, so I'm going to special summon my cookie. Here, one of Kagari's biggest problems is the fact that it points to my opponent's monster zones. So now, if I want to keep playing, I need to make a synchro so I can get rid of this one, because there are not, or maybe using just the token, right? That was also an option. So here I'm just thinking which ones I'm deciding to use. Again, like the mistakes are just are just going wild. But it is what it is. I'm going for the synchro because I just want to go for my snatch here. Big mistake. The point is that now the Federal Sermon is going to get hit, and I'm just chilling. I'm thinking, yeah, that's perfectly fine as long as he don't have the water synchro. I am just doing perfectly fine. And this big mistake also because I didn't make my usual anthropology work, anthropology work when it comes to the meta environment I expected for the regional. Because of that, I wasn't sure if he's playing the water monster, and this is the first sinker that he's showing me. And now I know that I'm just doomed. I'm just doomed right here because no, because I am putting the cookie. Like now I know I'm for sure doomed, right? In perspective. But here I'm just reading, and I am asking if actually leaving the monster board is not the same as leaving the board, like the Akruk is asking. Like I was explaining that it wasn't available, so here I'm just like sitting on my ass. I'm not able to do nothing, and my opponent here in his turn is just going to do something weird. Now that I remember, I think he's going to go, yeah, like I think maybe he could have just killed me right here, right? Like he could just go for the Crystal Wing. Harmonia is 2500, Lucina is 2500, Crystal Wing is 3000, so that is exactly 8000. But maybe he just wanted to show me the prismatic extended like chess card. I don't remember exactly the name of this one. It's very beautiful though, and whenever it resolves, it's kind of amazing. Again, maybe like I'm not a big fan of the Angelica engine, even if in the Avno build, I'm not gonna lie. But to each one, to each their own. And in this case, like you can see how he's kicking my ass. I'm just thinking right now, like why he didn't just make the Crystal Wing. I'm just trying to see. I mean, well, he already knows that I know that he's playing the Angelica because he used this deck yesterday, like the day before this regional, right? In a locals that we play together. So why maybe he wants to show the cards like in the stream to show the combo and all that shit. Maybe. I'm sorry. I'm just it's just that I'm thinking that literally right now. Like I didn't think that when I was playing. I was just thinking how I just got myself so self beating. And we are all humans here at the end of the day. So I was just thinking that. And also, at this point, trying to get the information right. I knew that he was playing the Angelica shit. I didn't know how the combo was going down, right? So here, for example, I realized, oh shit, they make the Chaos Angel before they do the most valuable synchros, right? Like the Ultimaya in this case, and they have a lot of different ways to actually put shit set guarantee, right? For example, and here, like I was just waiting for the crystal wheel, right? So here you have kind of value of the Angelica cards, like being all spells and searching the actual spell, because Now you have always something to set. That's valuable. That's nice. Uh, the mistakes, the misplays I made here, like El Parnaso just exposed himself so badly. El Parnaso just destroyed his career. El Parnaso situation is crazy. And whatever slob YouTuber favorite you have in their titles that you want to use, right? Well, here I'm not sure. I wasn't watching the stream because I was playing, so not sure of what they are actually saying here. The point is here, remember, if you make a misplay, everything that happens after that misplay is just your fault. It's just yourself to blame. So let's watch this and have that in mind, okay? So I'm just watching my hand. You can see that you can see already that I have a mignon. And here my opponent is just going to fuwa my ass in standby phase. Here I'm just thinking, I have an Ash Blossom, I have a Crossout Designator, so why I'm not going to negate this fuwa? That is exactly what I'm thinking. And some of you may be aware right already of why I am making such weird choice, right? Well, I'm making that decision only because, like, here I'm just trying to see if I can make my opponent think that that Fuwa is beating my ass. Because with or without that Fuwa, I was just going to do that. I was just going to pass because apparently 18 starters are just not good enough. Maybe maybe I should have played Evno with 10 one card starters because you will just draw them twice, like the Lucina here, right? A lot of people are going to tell you that. What I'm going to tell you though, first is that I already made my mind. I'm going to Ash the Lucina. In this case, he has the Morshid, right? Like here, and it's here I make yet another mistake. I think here I you will see why, but here I have a push, and I decided not to negate the power patron of Unity because I was thinking maybe he already have a terminus in his hand, right? And I think that was a big mistake because I didn't consider at this specific point that he could just go straight up to the Elf No Power Patron and just play the game, right? So I think I should have used the purge here in the Power Patron. It wouldn't have mattered, but you know, it's still something that I think I should have done. So here he's just going for again the play of the synchron. I am just watching my hand with the best card ever, the Amusement Mignon. But you know, why I'm playing 18 starters, bro? I'm just gonna play a 60 deck slot with 10 one card starter, and I'm just gonna draw them anyways. Who cares, right? So here I'm just throwing my cards. Let's see if he has something else, and obviously he has something else. Obviously he's going to have just exactly what will beat my ass no matter what at this point. But remember, this single wouldn't even existed like this. Obviously he has the arena, right? The last card. So my push, using my push against that power rating wouldn't have mattered anyways. So, but it's still, I think from now on in this specific situation, I'm gonna push straight up the power patron of Unity. Now here, obviously, getting my ass beat. And while I get my ass beat, I'm gonna remind you, it's very easy in these kind of situations to tell yourself that it's just bad luck the reason why you're losing, right? You're playing the most consistent deck in the format, you're playing 18 straight up one-card starters, and you're still not drawing any of them, right? So it's just something that's going to happen. If the chances are not 0%, it can always happen. And in Yu-Gi-Oh, anything can happen for any reason at any moment. So just try to focus on what you have actual agency on. Here, he's gonna use a fire to special summon a fire. He can do that, but he has here a Ghost Bell in his hand. He could have just used the Ghost Bell instead of the Ash. So it's like it's just a mistake, right? Like, and it didn't matter because he can actually special summon the power patron if he used the ghost bell. You can make the argument that, oh, but he already triggered send a fire, so he should have special summon something else. Yeah, yeah, you can make that argument, but I was losing anyways. At this point, I was losing anyways because, like, my hand was the shits, and my top deck was going to be an impermanence. So, you know, nothing changed because of this. So, just chill, right? Like, like it's nothing. So, again, what I was trying to say, remember that if you remember that at the end of the day you can only change what you have agency on. And here what I had actually agency is on the side on the misplay against the Hydraulis Harmonia for not respecting the water synchro, right? So I ended up losing round three. Funny enough, the Moises right here ended up actually winning the whole regional. So losing to the champion is not that bad. And regardless of that, all the way from round three to round seven, I was having just that as my only loss. And here at table three, I win the dice roll. I saw my hand. I look my opponent full on my ass. Again, I have called by the grave. I think I have cross out an ash again, and I didn't negate the fuwa because yet again I didn't have any way to play. Damn, that was just disgusting. And it happened also a third time in the whole tournament. But that match I win. I won it regardless of that. But in these two, like I lost. But again, I wouldn't have been in this match if I didn't make the mistake here. And as I'm going to explain in depth in my MetaFi guide, because in that single one he actually also had an Ash Blossom. But if I respected the Fidralis as I should have done, like respecting specifically the water synchro, that Ash Blossom I could have played around it anyways. I'm gonna explain that in depth in the masterclass, so give it a shot for $20. I think I think it's a very good opportunity. So remember, like there's already a lot of theory here. Like give it a shot. So here I end up losing here, and regardless of that, being H2 for the last round, I am table 7. So I won my last round against Blitzkick. Like I just to Blitzkick Rizal. I 2 him because luckily I was playing against that deck kind of a lot on DB, so it didn't took me by surprise. Here, regardless of me being on table 7, here the guy that just beat me lost his match in tables 2, so that made him the best X2 and put me on the worst on the lower category of maybe the fourth the third best X2, right, because of how the KTS works and blah blah blah. So I think that if he won this one I could have entered a top 8, but again, some those are things that I can't control, right? What I could have control is how I should have played the single one at this match 3. Therefore, it's just my fault, and I just have to learn from this kind of mistakes, right? Just like you can do by watching El Parnaso and subscribing to the channel, and go to even a next level by buying the masterclass. So if you enjoy it, leave a like, subscribe, share the channel with your people, and I'll see you in another video.